Howdy, this is Lemmy with RevZilla TV, here to talk to you today about how to choose an exhaust for your Harley V-Rod. You should be looking into an exhaust if you need something to make your bike look a little better and is going to make it sound real mean. If you go with a full exhaust, you should know that you probably also could unlock a little bit of horsepower potential from your V-Rod. Now there's exhaust for a wide variety of V-Rods out there, just about everything has something. Definitely use our bike finder though, because not every single model shares the same exhaust. Some V-Rods, like the one behind me, the Muscle you see, have a dual exhaust setup where there are others that have exhaust all on one side of the bike. So like I said, be sure to use that bike finder. Installation on these systems is going to range anywhere from 1 to 2 beards. A slip-on system might be something simple like a 1-beard install, whereas if you go with a full exhaust and you have a little tuning to do, it might bump you up into the 2-beard category. We'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. So when you're considering an exhaust for your V-Rod, everything comes chopped up really into 2 main categories. You can look at either a slip-on set of mufflers or you can go with a full system exhaust. Now normally in the big twin Harley world or the Sportster world, the full exhaust is typically the way to go. Those motors come pretty choked from the factory and they really can benefit from the unlocking potential. The V-Rod's a bit of a different animal though. Because these things come very highly tuned at the factory, mufflers are a much more viable option. When you also consider too the cost difference, there's not really much money between a mufflers only system and a full system exhaust, so it might change how some of you are going to buy things. So this video is going to be split into 2 sections. We're going to do slip-on exhaust or mufflers only systems, and then at the back side of the video we're going to discuss full exhausts. We're going to start with mufflers, but if you want to skip right ahead to full exhaust, click below and you can get to that point where we're talking about full systems only for the V-Rod. Let's get into mufflers. So you can see in front of me we have a smattering of mufflers. Let's talk about what we have here and which might work well for your particular application. You can see here I have a set of Bassani 4-inch mufflers to my right. These are beautiful, huge chrome mufflers with beautifully fluted end caps here. I also have Vance & Hines Power Shots here. Now Power Shots are more of a traditional looking sort of a shotgun style muffler. And then also by Vance & Hines we have a set of Widows on the table. You can see here they have them in their black finish, which matches Harley's OEM finish very well. You should know though that these things are not modular, so if you do wind up with a mufflers only system, you're not going to be able to easily upgrade into a full system exhaust without going ahead to buy one. So really what it all comes down to when you're selecting a mufflers only, a slip-on system with your Harley, you should know that you're not going to have to do much in the way of tuning. Most of these can go right on the bike and you really won't have to do anything with the fuel system. And you should also know that really because these aren't going to add much in the way of horsepower, you should probably select the muffler that sounds best to your ear and looks best to your eye. The thing that differentiates most slip-on systems for the V-Rod is really just going to be how it sounds and how it looks. Let's get into some full system exhaust options. Alrighty, now for the segment of the show when we go to full system exhausts. So we have a smattering of exhausts in front of us. There are a few options you have out there, and most of them are going to be based on performance and weight. The V-Rod, having a racing heritage and really being set up as a drag bike, is a bike that responds well to heavy tuning. However, once you get into this realm where weight loss becomes super important, as does horsepower, looks and sound really take a backseat to what is ultimately going to create the fastest motorcycle possible. So we have a few exhausts up here, kind of ranging from a good, better, best setup. And I'd like to go through them real quickly and see maybe if we can help figure out which one might be the one for you to go with if you're interested in a full system. So you can see over here, my right, your left, we have the Bassani B1 system. The Bassani B1 really is the entry level in terms of a V-Rod full exhaust. Now when I say entry level, I do mean just in terms of full exhaust. It's in no way a knock at the Bassani system. This is probably the system that's most closely related to a traditional Harley system. You can see here these beautiful chromed heat shields on here, and if we flip this over, you're going to notice that this system is MIG welded. It is a steel system. Now when you get to the muffler, you can see again more of that beautiful Bassani chrome on there, and you'll also notice the fluted end cap. This is a standard Bassani treatment for their exhaust. It's a very traditional look, makes it look a lot like some of their big twin exhausts. If you're looking for something that is gonna look again sort of towards the traditional side, it's gonna look like a more standard air-cooled bike's exhaust system, the B1 is definitely the way to go. The only problem with the B1 is again all that traditional looks, all those beautiful heat shields, the chroming yields a weight penalty. Because that stuff has to be made out of mild steel, it winds up being pretty heavy. Mild steel is going to be very heavy compared to the materials that the other exhausts you see on the table here are made of. That brings us to our next move up the ladder here. You're looking at the Vance & Hines 2-in-1 Competition Series exhaust. Now this kind of improves upon some of the other systems in that it's made of stainless, so this is lighter. They're able to use a thinner gauge material because stainless is a little bit stronger, and it's going to greatly reduce the weight of this exhaust. You'll also notice too there's no heat shields on this thing. Again, in the interest of keeping weight down, they're putting the innards of the exhaust right out there on display. Looks are not the primary function of this exhaust. Dropping weight and making power definitely are. You can see here this exhaust steps up to a TIG weld. These TIG welds are really nicely done in this exhaust, and it's again a function of this thing being stainless. You jump up again in terms of material in order to shed a little bit of weight. Now moving even further up the pipeline, really at the top of the chain here, you're going to see the Akrapovic open line exhaust. The Akrapovic departs from the Vance & Hines because this is actually made of titanium. Again, because this is titanium, you can see TIG welds here, and these TIG welds really are fantastic. They are noticeably better than some of the other ones you're going to see out there. These really are, again, top of the food chain sort of things. This is, the workmanship in this exhaust is definitely evident. You're also going to see here too, super lightweight silencer. This whole thing is going to reduce the weight of your system. In addition to being tuned for maximum horsepower, this whole thing is going to help you shed weight. And again, sort of drawing on the VRod's drag racing pedigree, all that's going to be very important, especially when you consider the installation. So as we said earlier, installation on these exhausts ranges anywhere from 1 to 2 beards. Just a simple slip-on installation won't take most of you longer than a half an hour in the garage. It's really quite simple. You shouldn't need any special tools. The only caveat there is that you might need SAE and metric tools because the VRod does actually use both types of hardware. Now when we jump into the full systems that you see in front of me, it makes installation just a little bit more difficult. Because of the enormous potential they have to unlock power, you're going to have to do some tuning to make that work. Remember, the folks making these exhaust systems are assuming if you need more power out of your VRod, you're looking for a lot of power. So they're assuming you have things done like cams and headwork and possibly even a bored or stroked motor, in addition to your more standard fuel controller and high flow air cleaner. Because of that, you're going to have a little bit of additional tuning to do, especially if you have some of those other power adders added on top. If you do have some cams, or if you do have perhaps a bore job done on your motor, you're going to have a little bit of tuning work to do. So after you install this, it's not terribly difficult to install, but after you install it, you are going to have to go ahead and tune this thing, and you're going to have to do either a couple dyno runs with your dyno guy, or you may just want to do some seat of the pants tuning where you wind up going to give it a couple rips, come back to the garage, tune, tweak a little bit with your fuel controller, head back out and try it again until you're satisfied. So it is some of that additional tuning that bumps a full system exhaust installation up into that 2-beard category. You got a lot of options to throw an exhaust onto your VRod. Whether you want something that's just a little bit mild and you're going to add some bark to the bite that the VRod already has, or if you're looking to create a full-blown drag strip monster, there's definitely something we have for you. Click below, learn a little bit more about some of these exhausts. If you have a question that I didn't get to, or you need a little help choosing, get in touch with one of our gear geeks. See us at RevZilla.com, or you can always get us by phone, 877-792-9455. I'm Lemmy, I'm out of here.